Now it's time to go to the kitchen and take a look at what we have there. So I can move my section over a little bit and flip it. I'll flip it again. You notice I don't have a lot of section lines in here. I don't like that. Don't like to have a lot of section lines in my project. I like to just move the two around rather than having a bunch of clutter with section lines. So you can see that I just moved that one over and flipped it. So if we take a look now, that is of course too low. So I want to click on this window and change the properties here so that the head height is 7 feet, like the other window. Now it lines up with the top of the cabinets, and I want it to line up with the bottom of the cabinets as well. So I don't remember how much distance I had to add to that. So I will just put a guideline in there and measure what that distance is. I'm just going to come across here, and then I'm going to measure from here. I'll go right down to the bottom of the window. No, I'm going to measure, not dimension. The reason why is because then I can go over here, Control C, and I've copied it. And now when I come over here and edit this window, I'm going to make it, duplicate it. And instead of being 2 foot 8 inches wide by 2 feet high, it's going to be 2 feet, Control V, high. Backspace, say OK. And then I will add that same number to the height. Because I measured it, I was able to copy that distance, and I don't have to type it every single time. I can just paste that distance in there. Saves a little bit of time. All right, so again, I'll have to go back and change that. It raised it up. I just want it to be at 7 feet. So there's my window where I want it to be. Let's take a look at that. Let's move this window through there just to take a look at it. And well, here's the floor plan. We can look at it there. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's good. And then I want to put that transom on top of it. So I'm going to come over here, architecture, window, and let's see if I use this transom again. It's not letting me put it in this here, but I'll definitely be able to put it over here, and that's what I will do. So let's put it over there. Now I can use the align command and align this guy with this guy, and then I need to make it a little bit wider. So if I measure the width of that window from here to here, what do we have? 2 foot 8. Okay. So let's see what happens if I make this guy 2 foot 8. We're going to edit this guy, duplicate it. We'll make it oops, I'll have to type that in this time, 2 foot 8. And I'll get rid of the 2 and say OK. Now my width is going to be 2 foot 8. Let's see what happens. Lines up on both sides. something's quite different about that. Oh, because it's on the inside. So I'll just click on it, hit the space bar, it flips it around. Now the brick is on the outside. The brick mold is on the outside where it should be, but the offset is incorrect. So I'm going to come over here and edit the type. Oops. Escape, escape. Highlight that window, edit the type, and the offset in that wall should be 4 inches. So let's try that and see what happens. And clearly I picked the wrong one. So I'll do escape, escape, match properties. So now I've picked the right one. It has the same width as this one. So the width of this is, let's take a look right here, 2 feet 8. The width of this guy to be 2 feet 8. I'll duplicate it, and I'm going to change that to 2 feet 8. And I have to change the width here to 2 feet 8. Change the name first of all. And now I have to change the width in the properties. And let's see how that looks on the inside now. Let's hit escape, escape. That looks pretty good. Okay. I want the height of it to be exactly the same as the other one. So let's go back to this section. Go to the view, and I just want to see what the properties of that is in terms of the sill height is at 7 feet. What's the sill height at this guy? 7 feet. Okay, so they're both good. All right, so now in the kitchen, I've placed my window in there in terms of the right height, but it looks like I can make it a little bit wider. So let's go back to that view and take a look at that. And yeah, see all the space I have between the cabinets? So I really should have changed the width of this first. Let's measure what we have. Looks like something's not centered here. This cabinet, this window needs to be centered on the sink. It is. And so if I align to the edge of the dishwasher, that's good. But, let's see. Yeah, the dishwashers are not centered. So now this is the time when we start to go back in and really fix things. So my sink is not located correctly relative to the upper cabinets and centered in there. So I'm going to go to the center of here, put that up there, say equal, modify that, click on it, delete, enter. And now I can say that the sink is correctly located, and I'll align from here, I'll align that, and then I will come over and align the center of this and this. Okay, so that looks better. We want the equal amount of space on each side. So I just want to measure, what have I got here? Is that 6 inches? Yeah. So I have 6 inches and a little bit more. So I could make that window a foot wider. Modify this, modify, click on that, edit the type, duplicate it. I'm going to make it a foot wider. So instead of being 2 foot 8 inches wide, I'm going to make it 3 foot 8 inches wide. And say okay, and then come down here and do the same thing. Instead of the type parameters being 2'8", I said we're going to make it 3'8", and say okay. That looks much better. And so now I have to do the same thing with this. Edit the type, duplicate it. Instead of being 2'8", now it's going to be 3'8", and I can get rid of the 3 and say okay. And then I have to come down here and change the width in the parameters, the type parameters, to 3'8". I'll say okay. Let's take a look at that. Click outside of it to deselect it. And it looks pretty good to me. And it looks pretty good here too. So I like that. I'm going to save it.